What is good, YouTube? Today is day 51 of uploading every single day in 2026. So yesterday I said I wanted to talk about art today and why I feel like it is very important and why I value it deeply. So this is all personal preference basically. But I value art, and what I mean by this is art carries, it embodies, it doesn't preach. Most art, at least good art or great art, usually doesn't preach something. It embodies something. It embodies emotion. It embodies character. It embodies values to certain groups of people, or like throughout the entirety of history. So like an example of this, I mean it's all over. But trying to think of a specific example. Like one of the most cliche things, obviously, like follow your dreams. And there's so many animes that kind of like have that follow your dreams, or don't be afraid of the unknown. That's a lot of like fantasy kind of things. Or there's so many of those like cliche, but there's a lot more niche or a lot more things directed towards certain things that are going on today in this world. And I remember reading a poem in my, I think it was last year in 11th grade, in my language arts class. And it was, I think it was by Emily Dickinson. And it was about actually, it might not have been by her. I don't remember. But it was addressing like civil rights and stuff and racism and segregation in like I could be wrong, like the 1960s civil rights. Not like, it could have been 18, though I do not remember. It's been a while, so I could definitely be wrong. But art influences culture, and it influences humanity, and it shapes our entire like identity around it sometimes. And it can be very powerful art. It can be very informative. It can entertain us. Art isn't just paintings or drawings. It's an accumulation of so many different things. Books, obviously, yes, paintings and drawings. Music, movies, like more modern things, movies, anime, video games. And I think one of the biggest ones is music as of right now. I think most of Gen Z like favorite artists are gonna be musicians, not like, most of the time it's not gonna be an author. Now I'm biased, and there's definitely some people like probably on like Book Talk or just who read, who their favorite artist probably might or could be an author. But most people's favorite artists are gonna be musicians. That, I think, at least in Gen Z. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Music is like, I don't know how to explain it. It's one of the most, like, I don't know like the science behind it, and I'm not trying to get into the science behind it. I'm just trying to like say why I value it and why it can be very important. But for my own life, I want to, I have written 4 books. They're all like first drafts and stuff, and I'm currently editing one of those drafts. It's all in a series of 4 books. So I'm editing the first book right now. I've not been really that consistent, to be honest, because it has been extremely boring, and I want to pursue other creative outlets that I very within the past week have started just dabbling myself in, which is drawing, playing the piano, and eventually I want to create music. I don't have FL Studio, so I don't think that's really gonna. I probably use BandLab or just some free thing. I think I have FL Studio on my on my iPad, but I don't really want to do that, to be honest. That sounds kind of painful. I'd rather just have the actual FL Studio or just use BandLab, or I don't know. But I want to try and like compose my own music, because I mean, I used to want to be like really famous, like worldwide, like I want my books to change the world. And I mean, I like that idea, but at the same time, I'm starting to change and allow myself to just kind of live peacefully, and I almost would rather just live peacefully, especially if all my needs were met. Like, you know, if I didn't have to worry about money, if I didn't have to worry about, like, getting sick and having to go to the hospital and be in crippling debt, you know, if I didn't have to worry about a lot of things. And I think art is so important for humanity, because without art, what really is humanity? Without all of these things, where, like, okay, some people say, like, we need people to be more productive, and, like, okay, well, if we just had, like, instead of artists, and all those artists just basically transformed into being, like, construction workers, or lawyers, or doctors, or engineers, and just, like, the people who did the useful things, how useful would that be? What would the happiness, the worldwide percentage of happiness in general, like, I'm guaranteeing that the percentages would go down. People would be less happy without art, without entertainment. And there's also an extent to which art can be helpful, and which it can be an all-consuming thing, 100%, like video games, like, and a lot of the modern day things, I would say, are a lot more of those things that can lead to an addiction, rather than just be like a purpose or a fulfillment. So, like, video games, you can make a very good career out of that, but it can also be obviously an addiction. And you don't even need to make a career out of it. You can just have it be like a fulfilling thing, like like it can just be like a side hobby that you do. It doesn't have to be either all or nothing. Like, it doesn't have to be either you make a career out of it or you don't play the game at all. You know, you can just have it as like a fulfilling side hobby. There's nothing wrong with that. Or, like, social media is an art in and of itself, but that obviously can be it can lead to extreme addictions. Movies, TV shows, binging Netflix series. Obviously, a lot of the more modern day things are going to be addictions. Most people won't have a reading addiction or like a drawing addiction. Like, they can be distractions every now and again, for sure. You know, like, if you're reading instead of like doing your, I don't know, but it's, or if you're like drawing in class and you're supposed to be like paying attention, like, it can be like a minor distraction like that, but usually those kinds of things are not going to be full-on addictions. And there's obviously also a difference between creating and consuming art. Consuming art is more of like where those addictions will come from, and creating it, basically impossible to kind of get addicted to that. Like, I don't know how you would ever get addicted to create. I mean, it's possible, but it's more likely, in my opinion, that you're probably addicted to something you do while you create, rather than actually create. So, like, a lot of creators, now this is a very stereotypical thing, but like, especially in the past, it seems like a lot of creators were like addicted to substances, and like Edgar Allan Poe, addicted to like alcohol, and basically romanticize the writing process. And a lot of people do that, like the starving artist, they romanticize that. But what's actually kind of being romanticized isn't the writing, but kind of like the pain that comes with it. But it's not really the pain that comes from writing, it's the pain that comes from all of the other things, and writing is just kind of a part of the life that this person is living in pain with. I don't know, I didn't really explain that really well, but yeah. And I don't know, but for my own life, I don't know exactly what I want, like with my books anymore. I mean, I do want to be published one day, and I do want to keep writing and eventually like write my whole series, and I know that's going to take a long time, but I can still see that vision, and I still want to fulfill that vision of like my whole, like, I have like a big, series that I have planned, and like this whole concept that I've built for the past 3 years, and I've been building still, but I want to expand. I don't know if I want them to just be just books. Like I want to draw my characters eventually. I mean, I'm not good at drawing yet, but I can get good at drawing. Like I've been writing books for over 3 years now. If I drew for over 3 years, like if I started drawing right now and I stayed consistent for 3 years, which writing I have not actually been consistent on a day-to-day basis. It's mainly been like on and off seasons, which is fine, but in my opinion, what I'm trying to do now is be consistent on a day-to-day basis, like just 30 minutes, 1 hour a day, whatever. Just consistent on a day-to-day basis, because that momentum will carry me forward, and it'll eventually motivate me more to just do 2-hour days or 3-hour days. And it'll also get me through the harder times, because I won't be like, oh, this is hard, I'm just gonna take like a 2-month break. No, I'm gonna keep doing it even though it is hard. And with writing, I'm not very good at that. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I've not really been that consistent. And I need to do better. But if I can build that kind of consistency with other like things, like making music or drawing, that could help me become a better artist. And imagine 3 years from now what kind of artist I could be if I have published a book. Maybe not, maybe, I don't know. And I can draw really well, and I can like make music. That can open up a lot of doors, so that my series doesn't just have to be just books. It could be something more. It can be something greater, and I don't know what exactly. I have some ideas in my head, like anime or manga, and I don't know, because that obviously would require a lot more time and dedication to that kind of craft. Like if I wanted to make my own manga, or if I wanted to make my own anime, and it depends, like if I want to get a whole team, like that's a lot of time and dedication to find people and all that stuff. Or but it's a lot of thinking, and the thing is, time is going to pass no matter what you do. No matter what I do, time is going to pass, and so you have to make the most of that time while you're living in it, because the pain of regret will always hit so much harder than the pain of discipline. It might suck in the moment sometimes, but at the end of the day, pushing through that pain will be so much more fulfilling than not. And I'm starting to realize that more. And I'm starting to change. I've been changing a lot for the past couple of months. And for like the past year, I've been changing mindset-wise, maturity-wise, and just a bunch of other stuff. I feel like personally in my own. Maybe externally it looks like I'm the same fucking I mean, I obviously look like the same person, except the beard. And I probably still act pretty damn similar to how I did a year ago, for the most part. Obviously, there's some exceptions. Like, I wouldn't consider myself as extreme, like, with push-ups or, whatever. I still have ambition, but not, like, impatient ambition. But yeah, like mindset wise, I've been changing so much, and I think a big reason is, now that I'm out of Nordic ski, I've been able to kind of think for myself in a way Because, like, with Nordic Ski, a lot of it, I was trying to, like, keep talking to people, and I don't want to get, like, I'm not trying to, like, be mean to anyone, but when you're around people, their mindset tends to not, like, affect your own mindset. That's just how it works. You know, you're like you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Or nowadays it's also the average of the people you watch on YouTube or just social media in general, or you know, the celebrities you look up to. You're the average of the people that you aspire to be, basically, or the people you spend time with. And you can change that simply by changing who you talk to. And since I'm not talking to most of the, like, a lot of the people, basically everyone from Nordic Ski, like, their mindsets aren't affecting my own as much. And there's nothing particularly wrong with other people's mindsets affecting your own, especially since it's, like, you know, a sense of community and stuff. But it also depends if those kind of, like, conflict with your inner values and, you know, whatever. But I don't know. I'm just saying that more vaguely. Like, I don't even know, like, any specific example, really. Well, now that I said that, I can kind of think of some, but I'm not gonna say them. So, yeah, this was, like, kind of a rant, honestly. It was partly about art, partly about literally so many other things, but I could talk for a long time about all my opinions, but literally nobody's watching this video still, probably, so it really doesn't matter. And honestly, I don't know how much I really want to, like, grow this YouTube channel. It would be nice, but at the same time, I kind of like being hidden or whatever. But at the same time, I do want to make it, you know, as like a YouTuber or as an artist, and like all of the other kind of like cool things I want to do in my life. And there's a lot of things that I want to do, and I have the time for sure. I just need to manage it. I just need to not scroll, because I feel like a lot of people, the reason why they don't do these different hobbies and they feel like they're going to spread themselves too thin is because we always want to scroll. We always want to have that time where we can just relax and just watch YouTube, or movies or Instagram or whatever. We always want that, like, 1 to 2 hours a day. Why? Why not just find a hobby, something that you really enjoy for the most part, that you can do, and you don't need to, like, have that scrolling time or whatever, you know? There's nothing wrong with scrolling, in my opinion, but it's like, there's got to be a balance to it. And that's a mindset I did not have a year ago. Like, balance was not in my vocabulary. And now it is. And I think that's a good thing. So, anyways, I'm going to stop ranting. That is it for today, day 51 of uploading every single day in 2026. I hope you guys have a great day, and don't forget to follow your dreams. Goodbye.